Welcome to my live segment once again. Today's segment, just gonna get to the point. Kevin Smith. You see what I'm saying? Kevin Smith. The reason why my title for my live is Darkness in Jamaica is because Kevin Smith, so called pastor, but he was really a ritualist that had a lot of ties in Jamaica, right? With all the political parties and a lot of musicians. You see what I'm saying? A lot of superstar athletes. And you could only guess. The list goes on and on and on. And what happened was he got arrested, you know, a few days back. And, you know, he's being advertised all over the world on social media, talking about his crimes, slashing people's throat. A woman, a banker's uh, woman's throat. She happened to even um, get him a loan of 40,000 US dollars. And these are just small little things of manipulation. And then basically, he had the agenda of Baphomet. So he was sacrificing, human beings, killing them in the church for his ritual. He was calling people to come, and their job is to just kill the members that he asked them to kill. And not only that, but he was also, right, sexually assaulting the children of the church. He had the church so manipulated, he can do whatever he wanted. And it turns out that there's a lot of kids that went missing. And he used to, those who wouldn't listen or those who he couldn't manipulate, he would either push them away, tell them they can't come back, or he would lock some of them up, you know, in chains and shackles. He was doing the practice of evil deeds. He had the energy and the intensity, to fool his members. He had a degree in psychology, and he was able to use that method to manipulate, hypnotize, cheat his members. And he had them thinking that he was their savior and that they should refer him as His Excellency. And a lot of them did. And so a ritualist like that in Jamaica, right, is rare because usually when you hear about ritualists, pastors, or rituals, you know, in general, it's usually mentioned in Africa, right? In Africa, there's a lot of rituals. There's a lot of pastors that have been doing this for fame. And it looked like Kevin Smith was doing the same thing. He lived in Canada for about 10 years. And after 10 years, story goes that he got deported and then he started his own congregation for his own selfish ways or his needs, right? And he did whatever he wanted with his congregation. And a lot of times, because the congregation that was following him was not sharp, they didn't think for themselves. This guy would even charge them money when they were late for church. So it wasn't really about helping, talking, it wasn't really about rallying for God. It was rallying for him, right? He was their God. He did all these things. And finally, after so many years of, problems, what took place is one of the members videoed you know, videoed him, participating in some acts, called the police. It was a service that you weren't supposed to bring phones or anything, but he ended up calling the police. And then the police came and seen all these things take place. Some of these heinous crimes take place with their front hands. So they arrested Kevin Samuels. Well, when they arrested him and they went to the station, now what the prosecutors got, right? The police, after talking to him for some time, they realized he knew a lot of high profile people in Jamaica. And a lot of these people went to him for advice, went to him to help them to gain fame. And so he had the talent to be able to, you know, invoke negative practices, negative and dark practices, in order to gain the good results physically. But spiritually, it was evil, but physically, it looked good. Drake had this terminology, taking all the negatives and changing into positives, right? But it's a parable, but it means physically, it might seem like it's good, but spiritually, it's evil. And so it turned out that he did know a lot of these celebrities. He has pictures with them. Not just pictures, but there are so many different things that shows that he knows them personally, right? And it seems like all those politicians, musicians, artists, whoever went to him that is high profile, it's scared. So what I'm saying is they decided to put together a plan. Because, it's so weird how Kevin Samuels today died. He died while being transferred from Mobay to Kingston, capital city of Jamaica. And it was weird how it took place, because he was the only one in the car with a driver. And the driver, right, turns out that he's the only person that was of police personnel in that car. And so what happens when that takes place? Well, one of the issues is he ended up trying to, what's it called? Like, fight a police officer. So he must have tried to squeeze his neck and kill him. And then the car crashed. And the driver died. And Kevin Samuels died. Kevin Smith died. Now, there's so much different conspiracies, and different conspiracies that is saying that because of the secrets that he knew, right, people were scared and they want to cover it up. At the end of the day, I want people to understand this, right? If something manifests from the spiritual, because everything starts off in the spiritual and it manifests to the physical, though they have physically tried to seal it, it's already out. And it's going to be out permanently. Now that they have covered it up, it's going to blow back somewhere. And I want people to understand that a lot of people that have a lot of power cannot be trusted, because it's very easy for them to be manipulated to use it for their own gain, their own benefits. Now, think about it. How much people have done the negative things in order to obtain fame that you see today. And so sometimes it's not just the physical hard work, not just the mental, but spiritually. They have done some things, right? Whether it's, you can pray and fast and, you know, you can do the right things and you'll get God's blessing to gain and obtain fame and riches and wealth beyond your imagination. But God is not focused on your physical wealth, you know? He'll give you because he owns everything, but he's more focused on your spiritual wealth, right? Because that is eternal. Well, Baphomet, Lucifer, what's it called? The serpent, all of them are focused on the physical, you know, because the physical wealth, it may seem like it's good on the outside, but a lot of times it will drive you away from the path of heaven most of the time because more money, more problems, right? And so a lot of people do negative things for fame. Kevin Samuels was a ritualist that was using his psychology degree to manipulate his congregation in order to obtain the physical wealth because he was all about the cash. And why he was all about the cash? Because the people that he was dealing with is about the money. They worship money. And so they feel powerless if they have no money. You see what I'm saying? He seemed intense, but he was using the intensity for the wrong ideas, right? There's some good, even though he has done evil, there's some good that he has done. But the evil overshadows the good that he has done. He's connected in high places. Why? Because those parties, those political parties, those artists, those athletes that are superstars do a lot of rituals in order to obtain that first place position. A lot of people think it's just physical hard work, but there's more to that. And you see, in a lot of African movies, a lot of these stories take place and it allows you to sort of learn from a perspective that is going to help you and strengthen you spiritually. But those movies are mostly popular in Africa, not popular in Hollywood or anything, because those movies are telling you the truth. They are telling you the sequence people go through in order to obtain that. And it's a lot of evil rituals. And so darkness is filled, right? Because there's a lot of questions that are not going to be answered. For example, his ties with the political parties. Who exactly, in what detail, did he help others that are in those campaigns and that are in the country of Jamaica? Right? And you could tell that he knew the police. He had a daughter that also was a police. Right? So there's so many things that that guy was into and how he was connected. And I'm pretty sure those people, the officials of that city or in that country, knew exactly what he was doing or what he has been doing. And they allowed him to do it. Why? Because A, he was paying them off. B, they went to him for help. C, they, or what's it called? he will talk about them. He will tell if he got caught. So they can't afford to lose their jobs, right? They can't afford to, what's it called, lose their job over somebody, right? Because they're too high in those positions to be brought down now. But just remember, it is not Kevin Smith that you have to worry about, because already that guy is mad. He's mad because he doesn't have no compassion. Yes, God's work is a work of seriousness, and you have to put a lot of passion in it. But you have to also have a clear mind, because if you are on fire for God, know that Satan is trying to derail you, right? He can alter your plan and make you think that you are still worshiping the Lord, helping the Lord, doing God's work. But in reality, you're doing His work. Know that those demons that, what's it called, exercise their abilities in people, right? Those demons have a destiny, which is they're going to the lake of fire, no matter what. So they're thinking, why not bring as much people as possible, right? They're not more powerful than us. But if we give them that power, then they become more powerful. The powers they possess is all from God. God gave them because He created all of them. So He created them in their way. Sort of like these demons in the spiritual realm was like God's experiments that He was creating to see how powerful they are and how they will be. But He created us humans different, created us with empathy, right? With love, with care. Not saying the others don't have that, but the level of it, the understanding of it, the control of it, and us to have a free will, meaning that you cannot decide if we're going to go to heaven or hell. It's all about our soul, right? How pure our heart is. You know what I mean? So many things like that is taking place. And now there are so many ties that he has. And a lot of times what happens is if somebody like that get caught, they cannot put him in jail because it will turn the country upside down based on the secrets. So they either stage an accident or they, execute him before he talks his truth. So my warning to everybody today is, I told you, church is a place of worship where you're supposed to love God. Not just God, but you're supposed to love your fellow brothers, your sisters, your auntie, your cousin. It's family place, a place for connectivity. But some have made it that way, what I just said, and some have taken the liberty to destroy it and manipulate and use it for their own gain. So not every church has God in it. But it is up to you as a person to understand why or what you are doing. No pastor in the world or nobody in the world can get you into heaven. They can pray for you, right? They can ask God to bless you, touch you, change your ways, and all of those things will take place. But ultimately, the decision of you wanting to go to the Father's home, back to your original home, right, which is heaven, right? In order for you to do that, you got to decide to find God on your own. The journey is for every single human being. If you do that and you are focused on God, all the distractions you will see, if a place is of pure, if God's presence is there, you will feel it because of the focus level that you're at. You know, a godly place must have high vibration places. It must have high vibrational place. You cannot go to a church with low vibrations because you cannot battle Lucifer, you cannot battle Satan with low vibrations. You must have high vibrations. And in order to do that, of course, you have to have fellowship, but the leader of your church and the counselors and everybody must be powerful, right? They must genuinely have in their heart purity to help people. You know what I mean? If a church you go to focuses on money and everything is about money, 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 right? Yes, there has to be parts for money, but if the main focus is all about money, then God is not there. What happened when Jesus went to the temple? When he seen that people in the temple, right, were making sales, they're selling things in the church, and their main focus was selling things. Their focus wasn't worshiping the Lord and keeping the Sabbath sacred or anything like that. Their focus was selling. And God knew, Jesus knew that Lucifer has a hand in that. Because guess what? A place like that, you're supposed to go there and carry your bondages with you to get it cleared. Because God can take all your bondage, all your worries, all your sorrows. He can take it. You see what I'm saying? So there's good churches, but there's not very many of them. If I told you there's a lot of good churches, I'll be lying to you. Right now, this day and age. So try to, you know, try to connect with God more and more on a daily basis. Because the Lord is mighty. And in order for the might to stand, we have to broadcast it. Because guess what? People are starting to think that there is no God. They're starting to think that maybe all of these things that is happening is by just science and only science, right? I mean, look, they put science over God by closing churches, right? Madness. But the more and more people accept that, the more and more norm it may come. So I am asking you guys, how is your relationship with God? Kevin Smith probably believed in God before. Probably had a good walk with God. But I think he couldn't wait. He was not patient. And so he went with who? The ancestors. The ancestor method. Right? He did things that God does not approve. He did things, instead of being the good shepherd, he was the evil shepherd. You know? The wolf in sheep clothing. Deceiving them. Right? With the word of God, because he's a manipulative person. Right? Hitting them with positivity to only end them with negativity. that is an act of the devil. And you must understand that the devil tries to use, because we are vessels, the devil tries to use people all the time to for his act of evil, act of vengeance, right? Act of destruction. And so people allow themselves to be manipulated, used. Sometimes they try to fight it, but based on, the financial state of mind. Because a lot of people get caught up because of finance. People will sell their souls for money. They have been doing that for a long time. So I encourage you to be careful. The life is becoming strange and stranger, darker and darker. Right now in Jamaica, it's very dark because the people know that their leaders, most of them, a lot of them, are full of evil. And this evil is something that, it cannot have been brought to light by Kevin Smith. But instead, they ended him because the law that is supposed to prosecute him turned around and destroyed and killed him. Because either way, if he was in the vehicle, he didn't have handcuffs. Why didn't he have handcuffs? That's procedure number one. Think about it. You go to the police academy and you're doing a arresting drill, and you don't arrest the victim, the suspect. You don't arrest the suspect before you put him in the vehicle. Do you think your commander is gonna keep you on the force? Because that's a life and death situation right there. So for them to do that, they knew. That's the basic protocol. No matter what, even if you're a new police officer, you should know the difference while you're at work and you're a police and you go to a situation, right? You don't want to arrest the person. You don't want to put handcuffs on him. Because you see, he didn't have handcuffs. So his hands was free and he was able to do that. Fight a police officer. Right? Try to grab his neck. Try to fight him. And, a big white truck boss him up. You see what I'm saying? Now, the media says he's dead. So, I know he had lots of secrets, and the secrets are definitely true if this happened to him. And their excuse was, he was, being mistreated by the police, so they're trying to change him to a different vicinity and stuff like that. Now, you tell me, why isn't it that you don't assign police that, are different than those ones over there to take care of this, so that this high profile case, before you even remove him from the the station, you would get everything that you need, right? A sworn statement and everything, so that you'll be able to, proceed with this fight. But now it's gone, because if he's dead, he's the main suspect, and he wasn't even charged yet. You tell me, he wasn't even charged yet for the two bodies that they found, the male and the female, in the church. Right? Now you tell me, he's sacrificing people in the church. He's sexually abusing boys in the church while these people are sitting there watching. Right? Now, who does that? Who would do such an act? It's only Baphomet, right? Baphomet would do that. So he, for sure, had a demon in him because he seemed to act like he didn't do anything or nothing was wrong in what he was doing with the heinous, evil crimes. Why? Because he was physically highly connected. But physically highly connected is nothing compared to spiritually highly connected, right? For good, though, for the living God. You know, there's a lot of things, secrets, but some people practice the evil ones instead of the good ones. You know, why go to a third party in order to get your blessings when you could go to the first party, which is God? Why not? So you tell me, what is going on that people are afraid of their secrets coming out? Because if God wants to expose you, it's better to take it at the beginning than at the end when you think you have escaped and everything comes tumbling down on you, right? So I leave you guys with this thought. Life has its ups and downs. There's so many things that change. Be careful of places you go. You see what I'm saying? Understand that it is God that created you, and it is ultimately God that, saves you day in and day out. He makes sure that you have food wherever you go. If you're living, He's the one that wakes you up. God provides needs for all of us, but some are stubborn. Some don't choose to hear. Some decide to take the other avenue. But all roads, eventually you'll be asked, because God is the one that created all the roads. The other demons, the other entities and principalities, they're not more powerful than God. Because if they were, we would not be created, or we would be created in a different manner. But because we are of God, and God created all of us, and we can multiply and multiply, multiply, and there's no end to our existence because of the special way God created us. So pray, because you know what I mean? We need prayer without ceasing. You need to pray for those who don't even know you. Because think about it. If you only prayed for the things you wanted, and only that, right, all the time, and you only pray for yourself, it's sort of selfish. Pray for others. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if you can help others while you're in need, then God will find no problem helping you. You see what I'm saying? Don't think, oh, you're too cool, or that stuff is mumbo jumbo. It's not. You see what I'm saying? It's not. We live in a more complex world than we are seeing it. Think about it. We are the one who created all of this. But how did we come up with the knowledge, idea, understanding? Just off of our own? There has to be more to this. And so that is the God factor that is in us, right? is what is creating that. And that is directly from God. See what I'm saying? That's the only most important thing, which is our soul. Our soul does not have a limit on how powerful we can become. But our physical appearance, our physical ability has a limit. Why you think we age? If it didn't, we wouldn't age. You know, if it didn't, we wouldn't need airplanes to fly. We can just fly. And so all of these abilities is possible, right? Through God. But without God, we are just going to hit dead ends. You figure if there's a problem that presents itself, then we can solve it. But what happens if the world starts flooding like Noah's days? How would we prevent that from happening if there was 40 days of rain? Let's just say if it rained for even 5 days, what kind of crisis it will cause. Look at New York City just recently when it rained for like a weekend, right? Look at the flood. So imagine if the whole world rained for 40 days, just 40 days of rain. What would happen to the world? Would we all be underwater? Most likely. Would all our creation that we spend decades and decades and decades creating be destroyed and crumble? For sure. Would many people die? Majority of the world would die. You see what I'm saying? So literally it'll be a handful of people. You know, if it's 8 billion people and it rained for 40 days, we can end up with 1 million people out of 8 billion people. That's how much, how much dangers we can be in. So that should show you how powerful God is. Because as far as we come, look at all these things God has helped us with. God has given us a chance. God has put in place for us. So he does not sound like he's evil. See what I'm saying? He's generous because he doesn't have to do this. He already got his selection already. So he doesn't have to. And he didn't need none of those people. But everybody needs him. You see what I'm saying? But because he loves us so much, because we are literally his children. Because from inside of him, our life came from. You see what I'm saying? From inside of him, our life came from. So what does that teach you? He's everlasting, ever so powerful, ever so loving and caring. So don't get it mixed up. You know, God's people are not supposed to slash your throat and kill you, all because for their gain, for their rituals. You see what I'm saying? They're not supposed to manipulate the poor, the hungry, right? Use them as slaves, right? Killing them like as if they're animals and that their life mean nothing. Kevin Samuels, Kevin Smith never can give life. He cannot give life. So what authority does he have to take life? Having children doesn't mean you gave life, eh? Do you see what I'm saying? But you must create it from scratch, not cloning, from scratch, from the elements. Can you take the elements and put it together and make a human being? Exactly, you're not on that level. We're not on that level. But yet, we try to boast and act like we're more powerful than God. We are not in any way, shape, or form. Your ideas mean nothing. Like I said, there is no democracy in the spiritual. Why you think these mandates are taking place? Because it's taken place before religion took place on earth. I told you, in the Garden of Eden. Just read that story carefully. If you understand that any time you listen to Lucifer, any time you connect with Lucifer, you have made a bondage, a tie with him. They will send you here. Because this is where it's like your training ground where you're gonna learn why you should not touch that tree because of the problems. Is because you're gonna encounter things that you don't want in order to find out a demo of knowledge. Because God placed us high on a higher pedestal, so the knowledge that we are supposed to know is unlimited. But yet we chose to limit ourselves. You know? It's like being 4K and then you listen to Lucifer and became 2K. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't make any sense. Right? And because of our curiosity is why we're here today. See what I'm saying? Us humans can't figure out anything without God's help. Understand that and know the truth. So thank you for listening. For those who, are gonna watch us live, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Guys, I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, right? And I know we can do it. And all it takes is one subscribe at a time. Right? Comment, like, share the video, and give me your input, because a lot of wickedness is in the world. Jamaica, right, has become a dark place because of this incident. It brings up a lot of questions and a lot of secrets that people are hiding, and it's not just only there, but in Africa as well. Africa been doing that from time. And all these false pastors, all these false prophets, they are just using it for their gain because they feel like they're in a position of manipulation. And most of the congregation is not much more smart than a 5-year-old. An educated 5-year-old, they're not smarter. So you can easily manipulate them. See what I'm saying? So be careful. Because even sometimes their parents drag them into that kind of atmosphere. But why? Because guess what? Your parents might not be smart, but they mean a lot to you. Right? Most people trust their parents unless it's otherwise, right? So when your parents tell you something, or somebody who's your guardian that you know for a long time, right, is good to you, tells you something, most of the time you're going to listen because you think automatically the person is trying to help you. But sometimes they could be misguided. They could be manipulated in order to manipulate you, to get to you, to pull you into such an ordeal. So the walk with God has to be with you one-on-one. You got to spend time so you know who God is. And God will familiarize himself with you through many messages, many signs, many wonders. And so you would be sure. A lot of people, they try to use the fact that they're older. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I'm older, I know more. Sometimes it's not true. You see what I'm saying? And you got to break it down like Crack it down, especially when you're in the position. You see what I'm saying? Especially when you know better. Don't let them use the fact that they think they know more or something in order to deceive you into that avenue, because God will not understand that when it's time of judgment. You see what I'm saying? Everybody got a chance. You could be led in the wrong avenue, but it's up to you to pull back and see in clarity. In order to find yourself in a good position of clarity, you must find a one-on-one relationship with God where you strongly hold on so you can overcome all the obstacles that life throws at you. You see what I'm saying? God said it's not going to be easy. If God is saying it's not going to be easy, then you know it's going to be hard. You see what I'm saying? Because he knows us. He knows everything about us. And he knows the devil too. And he knows the tricks and the deceit of the devil. So, God bless you guys. God bless everybody. Pray for everyone. That is the best gift you can give to people. Praying for them, wanting good for them. See what I'm saying? You don't have to be a pastor to pray. You don't have to be a pastor to talk about God. You understand? But the truth is a person thing. Human to human. That's the truth. And that is the life. You understand? Telling you. And that was clever. I'm telling you, Kevin Smith was probably a good person. He probably was walking the right path. But greed, deceit, evil got the best of him and used him for the wrong reasons. See what I'm saying? Don't let Lucifer use you for the wrong reason. He hates the truth because it's bigger than him. See what I'm saying? He knows, even though all of this ordeal is happening, he knows he lost. And because he lost, that's why these things are taking place. And his loss already lost long time ago. And so now it's being played physically. Like I told you, God needed a place for all the ordeal to unravel. And he embedded himself into the earth as well, because the earth has life. And any life form is from God. So think about that. Pray when you go to bed. Pray for your children. Pray for the society you live in. Pray for the officials that live there. Know that as powerful as they are not more powerful than spirits. You understand? So the best thing for any of us to do is increase your spiritual power. Because you see, then God will find you important. And when he finds you important, you become close to him. And then he will do what you want. But if you won't worship and you won't pray for others and your heart is bitter, you find it hard to pray for others. That is selfishness. What about children being born every day in the hospital? What about sick people? Not just sick people. What about people who are going through hard times? They're confused about who God is. There are so many problems that's taking place. prayer, right, is a major part because it gives vibrations. We live in a world full of vibrations. Person that can project the strongest vibrations is the most powerfulest because then they can change. So, guess what? Why music is so powerful? Because music gives vibrations. And you see, majority of the music nowadays is evil music. Music that don't really talk about anything. They're just talking about the life. You know, the physical life, oh my watch. You know, how much money I made. What type of car I'm driving. You know, how many bottles I'm gonna buy. You see what I'm saying? So they're creating this type of what's it called? You know, mindset for children of tomorrow. So children of tomorrow, right, based on those type of music, they could be influenced the wrong way to do the wrong things. So think about it. Have a nice day. Have a nice night. Make sure you pray before you go to bed. God bless everybody. Have a nice night. Bye now.